The show is made possible in part by its supporting sponsors: Blue Water Power Group of Companies, Joe's Discount Tire, and AskGuy.ca. I'm downtown here today at Norton's Hairstyling, and my friend Christopher Norton joining me. It's been some time since, well, I guess last summer since we ran into each other, maybe, or
that's right, yeah.
Or no, I guess it was recently at Revelry, just when they announced their
the announcement. Yeah.
You were there, and you were host for Revelry last year.
I was, yeah. Scott Palco, the gentleman who puts it on, he's a friend of mine. So yeah, he asked if I could, host it for him, and yeah, it was a neat opportunity. And I did a decent enough job that they want me to do it again this year. So
cool. All right. You did do a great job. I was there and flying my drone and stuff, and I know you were doing that, and you were funny, and you had a fun time with it, right?
I did, yeah. That means a lot coming from you, man. I know you do a lot of that stuff as well, but it's like, it's an interesting thing because to go up there, and I guess what I thought it would be and what it was just kind of,
it wasn't what you expected, or?
I kind of thought the backstage of a music festival was going to be like this wild, adventure, and I don't know, but it was a lot tamer than I thought.
It's pretty boring, isn't it?
Yeah,
a bunch of buses and stuff around, and everybody's,
But it was a really cool experience, and I'm like super excited for this year's, because it's going to be, it's going to blow there's no roof on the park, but it's going to, be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a good time, right?
Yeah.
Let's kind of go back. I always say this, but it's true. Let's go back to close to the beginning as we can for you. Okay. You weren't born in Sarnia.
No. My family's from Scotland. We're Glasgow, Scotland, and luckily enough we had a chance to go back just pre-COVID, and it was really a lot of fun. But my dad immigrated here in '82, so I was 3, and opened a salon in the Kenwick building. That was the first place where we were, in the basement there, and then many moves since. My sisters and I took over about 11 or 12 years ago. I've been just after COVID. My dad retired. So
has he really?
No. I don't think he's ever going to fully retire. But
he's hovering around.
Yeah. I think he's looking in the window right now. Actually,
right.
Wonder what's up. But it's been we've been in. I like to consider it as kind of a Sarnia downtown staple.
Sure.
And it's been really nice to see the improvements and businesses coming downtown, and I love it down here.
This is a beautiful studio that you have here.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. It's fantastic, very modern, and welcoming is what I always like to say. When I walked in the door, as you were turning the lights on, I was kind of like, wow, it just has a really nice, fun and positive atmosphere to it.
Yeah, I think those are really nice words to describe it, but I do think that because my family is very my sister and my dad have huge laughs, and they just they really so in the shop I quickly realized that we're not a spa environment. It's not going to be we give people a really relaxing treatment in the way of we take time with the head massage, and we really like to listen to them and make sure that they're really well taken care of, but it gets loud in here, and people are laughing and having fun, and so it's not really you're not going to fall asleep necessarily, but you will.
It's an experience, I guess, right?
Yeah.
You're kind of in a unique position as a hairstylist, as you really get close to people. You're touching them and you're breathing in their face almost. But I mean that's got to be there has to be a relationship between you and the client.
No, there definitely is, and I think it is definitely a relationship. I mean, there's people that, for whatever reason, it just doesn't go, right? And it's almost like a first date.
First date,
It is. It's kind of like a first date where you
go,
awkward,
it's not going to work.
Yeah, I don't think we're the same, and it's interesting in this job because you get to know people that, you wouldn't have necessarily maybe met or approached in the first place, right? So if they made an appointment, and so it's really neat. You get to I have real estate agents and people that work at Tim Hortons, and people it's a big broad spectrum of clients that So it's very intimate, and I think, I mean, the interesting thing is everybody's had a haircut, so the experience. But when you meet somebody and you can kind of trust them, and I like to tell that to all of our juniors, like, it's really getting people's trust is super important. Like, you don't want to, you can have all the ideas of what you want to do to their hair and all that, but they have to trust you, and you have to earn that. You don't just get it. Yeah. So if they want to trim, give them a trim. Yeah. That's all. You don't have to, go crazy.
Was this because your dad obviously started this business, and
my grandfather.
Okay, yeah. But I mean, coming here and bringing it here, like, your dad has won like huge awards and has been very well recognized all over, right?
Yeah, for sure. My dad was a British hairdressing champion, and like, we used to have before we did our renovation, we had a picture on the wall of him winning this award, and it's a really fascinating picture because it's like the mayor of his town is there. There's like a big band. It was like, in the European culture, it's like a lot of like hair, fashion, all that stuff. It's really taken to another level. Like Canada and America, it's they enjoy it, but in Europe, it's like they're really into it. It's like fashion, and so and even back then, it was like a really big deal. So my dad won that, and he worked for Schwarzkopf for years, and traveled all over, and that was before my time, but he did really well, and he kind of got it. My grandfather had a barber shop, and we have a picture on the wall of that, which is kind of, he learned it, just after.
Is that the one at the entrance here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He learned all that just after the war, and kind of my dad kind of grew up in his salon, and then decided to not go the barber route. He wanted to go more of the like hairstyling, and he got an apprenticeship at a good salon in Glasgow, and so he it's a neat story, and I kind of think about the fact that he I think it would be roughly my age that he came to Canada.
How old are you now?
I'm 43.
Okay, all right.
So maybe a bit young, maybe he's a bit younger, but to do that with 3 kids and a wife who was my mom was pregnant at the time of twins.
Wow.
And so like to take that all, and it's interesting how life goes when you start kind of getting to the ages where your dad, like, oh, that was a lot.
Right. Yeah. Ed, you're on my list for an interview. Well, I mean, really, right? So, but let's continue on with you. So, were you always, was this going to be your thing, or did you have to do other things to figure it out?
No, I think I just think I really enjoyed. I remember actually the moment that I knew I wanted to do it. I worked in the salon. It wasn't an option. Like, I like how kids nowadays,
sweep the floors and
I like how kids nowadays they're like, I don't want to go to work. It was that you just did. Saturday came if you were 13. This is pre-child labor laws and everything like that. So there was nothing, there was no payment. It was just you're coming there.
You're doing it.
Yeah, you're working. So I always liked the atmosphere. I liked the industry, and I remember when I was about 14 or 13 when I was summer going into high school, and I remember that because I had my vest, and my dad was taking me to this hair show in Toronto, like a big deal, and he said, you got to dress black tie, right? So I go, oh, all right, okay. So that's the blackest of the tie that I had was my grade 8 grad, suit and tie and all that. So I got all dressed up, and my dad looked sharp, and we go to the show, and I'm looking at people going past me with like leopard print pants, zebra shirts, like hats, cowboy hats, just the wildest stuff. And I said to my dad, I'm like, well, Dad, I thought you said this was like black tie. He goes, yeah, but it's hairdresser black tie. So it's like you can, you could do whatever you want, like leather pants,
Thanks,
like it was like. So I was like, I like this, like there's nothing to put you in. You can wear a suit if you want, you can wear whatever. Like, so I kind of like that idea of not ever having to like conform.
Right.
Like I have friends who are insurance agents. They got the nice haircut and the tie, which is great, and they're but I just thought.
Just be a little more free with your own creativity, right?
Yeah, it's neat.
It is. There is a creative side too. I mean, right?
Yeah, for sure.
to come in and say, I want to make me look like.
Yeah.
Well, we can only do so much, but we can start
right.
here, right? But,
no, for sure. There's a lot of creativity in it, and I think there's like everything, it's a spectrum. Sometimes you don't feel like that, but other times you really do. Like I've done, competitions in Toronto. I've done, photography stuff, and that's all like when you really get to be creative because you get to do actually whatever you want. So you take a model and you color their hair the way you want it to look and all that stuff. So that's where kind of the creativity kind of peaks, I think.
Right. Trends change quickly in this industry, do they, or do some stick around, or?
I think some do, and it's interesting how even for example the mullets coming back.
Is it really?
Oh yeah. I've got
not doing it.
Yeah. last week I've had a couple guys coming in and I'm like, okay, all right, and I dig it. I think it looks good, and it's like a more modern version sometimes. Really? But trends are always like I've kind of noticed though it's like whatever's trendy now, the opposite will be trendy.
Right.
You know what I mean? If it's long hair, then it'll be really short hair. If it's bell bottoms, then it's really tight pants. It's always whatever, the people are doing right now, the next trend is going to be, the opposite of that. So.
And coloring your hair means something different sometimes now, doesn't it? Like bright pink and blue and very, well, I don't mean outrageous in a bad way. I just mean,
no.
But very loud coloring, right?
Yeah, that's always available. Like people are always like, there's always certain types that want it that big bright pop of color, or they want the, I tend to like over the years, my clientele is kind of melted into more of a natural, normal, hair colors and just like
bright gray.
Yes, bright gray. Yeah. That's something. Yeah, people asking for gray hair now. That's kind of a new. I didn't think I'd see that. Oh yeah. People want it's a challenge, but I mean it's. But it's I tend to do a lot more of kind of natural like balayage looks and stuff like that. Things that are like more day-to-day wearable than the bright. I leave the bright pinks to like the young people, but they like that stuff. So.
And you're a family man. You're married.
Yep, married, 2 kids. My son's 18. My daughter's 17. I know.
Because that's just weird for me, because I've known you a long time, and you were very young when I met you. So wow, time really flies with that, right? And what are the kids doing?
My son's in trade school. He's going to be he wants to be a pipe fitter right now, so he's at Canweld. I think he's like 3 months into like a 6-month thing. And it's kind of cool. I kind of joke that I go, we're both tradesmen, like he'll be a pipe, he'll be a pipe fitter. It's like, basically they're interchangeable, really. But, it's neat though, like having a son that's like, getting to that age of like, but I'm having it. I think the challenge now is learning how to shut up sometimes.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about there.
Yeah, because I know it's. I know he doesn't want to hear it, and I have to like just.
Sometimes you still have to. My boy's going to be 23, and I still struggle with that sometimes.
Oh yeah,
it's like, just leave me. Yes, Dad. Okay, I got you. I'm over here if you need me. Right.
And guys like us don't mind talking, so it's
that's right. Well, I mean, if they just listen.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
But we didn't listen either, did we?
No.
And your daughter?
She's 17. She's into horseback riding, and
cool.
That's really cool because it's like it's a different thing. And one of the kind of things they talk about around the barn is if your daughter's into horseback riding, she can't have a boyfriend because you need to have there's too much time spent at the barn. I'm that's a good trade.
You're okay with that, eh, Dad?
I'm okay with that right now.
And what does your wife do?
My wife's also a hairstylist. She actually has a salon right across the street. Her and her family are Ruckle Hair Concepts.
Oh.
So, keep your friends close, enemies close, that kind of thing. I'm not sure, depending on the day, but it's really nice actually. It's kind of nice to have that. My dad always says that competition is a good thing.
Can be healthy for sure.
Absolutely.
Keeps you on your toes.
Absolutely. And good competition is even better. So like to have, we're always, we just both of our businesses want to provide the best service for our customers. And so it's nice to have, people that are, kind of keeping you honest,
Right.
Yeah. So
that's I'm sure that's a really interesting story in itself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You laugh a lot, and it's contagious in your family, right? Knowing your dad, there's that contagious laugh that he has.
Yeah.
And so you've turned that into kind of a hobby or something on the side you enjoy, some comedy?
Yeah. I got into stand-up about, I'd say a couple years ago, or a couple years pre-COVID. It's
right.
Obviously there was that break, but I got into the theater with one of my best friends who's actually involved with Revelry as well. But we did a play called Shorthanded. It was like about a hockey locker room, right? And it was pretty cool. And then shortly after that, we did Rock of Ages because Carolyn Lobsinger, she's an amazing theater and person. But she's one of my clients, and she said, she came in, she goes, you have to be in Rock of Ages. And I think now it's because she knew she wouldn't have to make a wig for me or anything. I had the hair, and that was it. She's like, that's...
She was up to something.
Yeah,
I know Carolyn. I know
she knew.
about.
But so I did that, and that was a lot of fun. And through that, I met Ian Alexander, who was putting on these shows called...
Cinegaze or something like that?
No, it was a comedy show. It was like a setup, OMG comedy show.
Right.
Was what he did. He did a couple of them, and they were really good. And I met Aaron Hopkins and Alan Hopkins, and they're a couple comedy guys from town. And I said I kind of thought about it, and they said, well, just do it. Get 5 minutes. And so I started with 5 minutes and just been working.
Was it hard to come up with just 5 minutes? It seems so short, but yet when you're on that stage, it can probably seem like forever.
It is. I mean, 5 minutes. Just like you're saying, it's 5 minutes. Seems like 5 minutes. That's no big deal. But when you actually have, when you write a joke or whatever you're going to do, and then you're done it, and it's been 45 seconds, or it's been, you're like, wait a
minute, I didn't plan that.
I need to have, and it's also, like figuring out, do you want to be a short jokes? Do you want to figuring out what you want to do?
Storyteller.
Storyteller. Anything. It was something that I just kind of wanted to do, and then once I started doing it, I just really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how good I am at it. I think it depends on the night and all that. And
have you ever bombed? Have you ever felt that you bombed?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's kind of part of it, isn't it? Don't you have to bomb?
100%. Yeah, I think it's I just think it's there's no other way. It's a very honest thing, where you go up and you do your best, and you just can't. It doesn't work all the time, and it could be the audience. It could have been them. It could have been their fault. Yeah. It probably wasn't, but it's there's any number of things, I listen to a lot of comedy podcasts and things, and they talk about just repetition and maybe changing this word or saying that, or your tone or your fluctuation. There's so many things that go into it, and you just have to try again.
And do you write it? Are you the guy that writes it out, or do you just if it were me, I'd have points, and then I'd just talk about it? I don't know. What's your style?
Right now, I write it all, and then I record it on and then I listen to it over and over. So I kind of get it almost.
So you rehearse?
Yeah, almost not. I don't want to say memorize, because I do like to adventure off of things, but for me in my mental state, I need to know
your mental state.
Yeah, because it is a little mental to do stuff like that.
Right,
it's not. Yeah. It's not a, and so
is it challenging to do?
It's very challenging, and that's what I think I like about it. Is it's something different. That's not really. It's not my work. It's not my family stuff. It's just kind of a little thing, and you can work on it at your own pace. Theater is awesome, but there's a structure to it. It's 3 nights a week.
Very scripted.
Yeah, and 9 hour. You got to be at all these rehearsals and all this stuff, and it's great. It's a lot of fun, but
sounds like work.
yeah. But the comedy stuff, I find it's something makes you laugh, and you kind of write it down, and you go, oh, okay, that could be something there, and and periodically I'll go through my notes and be like, oh, that that thing, and this and that, and I'd like to get to a point where, and I've been doing it a little bit lately, where I can try to relax a little bit up there and kind of ease into it, and just kind of like you're saying, because I hear that a lot, where comedians will have points. They'll go up and they'll talk about it, and the jokes come out of them just riffing on it.
Yeah.
You know, so like I'd like to do stuff like that, and but unfortunately, there's not a huge comedy scene in Sarnia, so the opportunities to go up are not like, you know.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think, well, I do know, like, open mics are a big thing in bigger cities. I think because they would have more comedians, a more talent pool to draw from, and like when you have a fledgling comedian, it's not always great. So if you say a bar in town wants to have an open mic night with, you know, say comedy or spoken word or whatever, they're never quite sure what's going to be said.
Yeah.
So if you're a restaurant owner and some guy goes up and starts doing some really, you know, off-color material or you know, stuff that, you know, maybe
not family friendly.
Exactly. So that's part of it, and then, you know, the other, it's just people, you know, you just have to have that person that wants to produce the show. Mm-hmm. And the responsibility and the this and that. Like I did one at Collide. It was called Funny Bones, and it was a lot of fun, but there was a lot of work, you know, and you know, and then you get in there, and then there's like the, you know, sound issues and you know, like, you know, bar stuff, and then you get, so there's a lot of stuff that lands on you. But I am starting to want to get back into producing a show, like even if it's like, you know, every other month or whatever it might be, just so I can have something to.
Well, you know, it's going to take work to create the scene. I mean, there's no denying the music scene in Sarnia is like huge and wonderfully supported.
It's great.
But there's a big difference, like you said, in the kind of the control of what's person's going up to play guitar. Chances are they're not, you know, singing Tool or whatever,
right?
Something off the wall like that. Whereas comedies, are you worried about offending anybody? Do you think of that, or do you just go, or are you I'm trying to think of are you Ricky Gervais? You're just like, that's part of it.
I
think you don't like it too bad.
Yeah, no, I am a if you don't like it too bad kind of guy, but because I just think that's what it is. You know, comedy is always meant to be, you know, like, say whatever you want if you think it's funny. I think that's where people get confused, is that the intention is to make you laugh and to bring joy to your life. Mm-hmm. If they don't succeed with that, that's unfortunate, but it's part of the, you know, part of the gig. They're not always gonna, not all, you know, they're not all gonna be bangers. And
you're not gonna please them all.
That's right, and you know, but I tend
funny
to,
how that goes
with my comedy and the comedy that I like. I don't really go there. You know what I mean? I'll talk about stuff that I think is, you know, a little blue and maybe like, you know, PG-13 kind of stuff. Like, you know, it's not, I wouldn't say it's clean, but it's also, you know, I like to be, kind of go away from what the world's talking about. You know what I mean? Like,
you don't do politics.
Politics, you know, touchy subjects, all that stuff. Like, I just find, I want my comedy to be a little bit lighter.
Yeah. Relationships always seem to be a part of comedy, no matter who it is. At some point in the routine, they're talking about spouses or girlfriends or exes or why do we find that so funny?
I think it's just, I think it's like
it's
most
so quirky.
Yeah, well, I think it's the most relatable to everybody, and you know, I think we can, and yeah, there's just funny stuff happens. You know, when you're trying to live with somebody and you're trying to be like, you know, cohabitate with another person, like it's, you know, it's you got to learn to laugh.
Yeah, sure.
Exactly. Yeah, if you don't laugh, you'll cry, right?
Yeah, right. What? So do you have, like, are you a Kevin Hart kind of guy, or are you Ricky? Like, who do you mentor, or who do you look up to and watch?
Well, currently it kind of fluctuates all the time. But there's a guy, Theo Vaughn, who's really fantastic. He's kind of I wouldn't say he's new, but he's just got a really quirky style and very, like, he's, for the most part, kind of clean. Nate Bargatze is awesome. He's got a new special called Hello World that's on Prime. It's great, and again, like, very clean. You know, like Dave Chappelle and you know, those greats, Bill Burr and all that, and you know, Gervais is super funny. But again, their comedy currently is kind of like, it's intense. Yeah. You know, like,
they ask for it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Ricky Gervais will admit it totally.
Oh yeah,
he's like, but that's another.
I kind of have to be in the mood for that.
Yeah,
I
get that.
Like, but it's
he keeps getting back to host the whatever award show it is he
does,
right?
Yeah, I don't know.
What's he gonna get? And Dave Chappelle, like, has been very controversial,
Yeah.
and or been spoken as controversial,
Yeah.
and with a different, very. So what's your genre, I guess, or do you have a favorite thing you like to make fun about?
I think my family.
Yeah.
A lot. I think for the most part.
Do they know? Like, do you say my dad and my sister?
Yeah. You kind of talk. And I think that again, that's kind of like the relatable topic. Like your family and your. You certainly have to be careful and
you don't go home and get in trouble. Don't say that about me.
Well, I know enough not to. I don't have a lot of bits about my wife. We'll put it that way.
Right. Smart man.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I want to, happy wife, happy life, and all that stuff. But and actually, the salon too. Like I actually had a pleasure of meeting John Wing, who's a local legend,
interviewed him before too,
great comedian, and he was talking when I did my first set. I talked a lot about like the hairdressing business, and I think that's just because of what I do, and then I kind of got away from it, and I kind of thought, well, I don't, but when I got to talk with him, Tony Wing, his brother, was kind of connected us, and he was very awesome guy, great to talk to, and he just kind of said, well, like that's nobody else can talk about that. When it comes to like comedy and stuff, like you gotta kind of have something, you want to have something different and be true to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna have there's not gonna be another comedian on the bill that's talking about their job as a hairdresser.
Right.
So I can like really find like a little bit of a niche there. And again, like we spoke to earlier, it's like everybody gets their haircut.
Yeah.
That's that terrifying, moment when you go in for the first time, you see some, there's funniness there, and we have such a weird relationship that we have with our clients and the stuff they tell us. Like I had a client that they'll tell come in and they'll be upset and they're someone's just passed away or something like that, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. So we're not doing bangs then? I guess it's just like we have to move from.
How do you switch that over?
Yeah, it's like, how do
Sorry to hear that. Yeah. Okay, so what color would you like?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a funny.
I suppose,
It's a different.
So you're like the bartender kind of type.
Yeah.
You're the psychologist on the side.
Yeah. I have no qualifications or there's no reason anybody should listen to any advice I have,
right.
But it does happen because it's I fully tell my client, I'm like, listen, I will give you my advice.
Yeah.
But
please don't take it.
Please don't take it. Yeah. Basically.
Yeah. Well, and that's again, that goes back to that intimacy that you have with people, and again being close to them, not just physically but emotionally too, right?
Yeah.
And that's probably a part of what keeps them coming back, right? It's not just. I'm not just saying you can just go anywhere and anybody can do a haircut.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I mean,
no.
there are other choices, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be able to build those relationships, and that's obviously, I know that's important to your family.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and I kind of learned it. I mean, certainly my dad as well, but like my sister Angela, my sister Diane, like they're fantastic, and just the way how great they treat their clients and things like that, and just like I'm a little bit less intimate. I don't get deep into the how's your marriage, like I'm like I kind of step back a little bit, but like I there's certain stylists in the salon where
you're not the gossip.
No. I mean, but you'll look over and somebody's crying, they're hugging, they're having these moments, and I'm like I'm not.
I'll be over here.
I'll be over here trying to make them laugh, trying to get a smile out of them, but it's definitely is a really intimate relationship that you get, but you kind of find those people that fit your style.
Do you choose your clients or do they choose you?
That's I think it's like an organic growth kind of thing. Like I think when you do somebody's hair, and if they really like it and they go out, generally they're gonna sometimes hang out with people that are like-minded or they like the same things. So you tend to get like people that I like this girl's hair, so I'm going to go see them, and so it tends to be like as your clientele grows, you tend to get a lot of the kind of similar people. So it's really a good thing. I mean, I've never like fired a client or anything like that. Like I've heard of that stuff, and I've never done that. I've always just been like,
I've had enough of you.
Yeah, like if I'm lucky
every time
enough,
you come in, you're so negative. You don't get rid of that person.
Yeah, I don't have that in me to do that. I think hey, if you want to come see me, I'm thankful.
I'm here to serve you.
Yeah, like I think it's I think I always kind of think that, and like I'm just lucky people want to come. You know what I mean? I don't. Hey, if you're thinking that I'm the right stylist for you, I'm happy.
So when you're not being a hairstylist and a dad and a husband and a comedian, what music's in your life a little bit too? Is it?
Yeah. No, I'm. I love it. I mean, I love music. My brother-in-law is actually in the Born Riot, and so that's kind of a cool thing. And it's like I just kind of like to go around, see local music, see local shows. Certainly excited for the the Revelry show and Borderfest and everything that's happening, because it's really interesting that Sarnia is becoming this festival community. Like it's like we're really lucky to have the talent that comes here.
I did another interview earlier, and it was brought up that it's like a hub, Sarnia, for music. We're kind of connectors, and it's kind of where we're positioned with, Detroit, Windsor, London. We're all kind of stuck in the middle. Not stuck, but you don't have to go far.
Right, yeah.
But there's so much right here. I mean, even like, have you been to Maud's Variety?
I have. Yeah, it's a great little place.
I haven't made it there yet for these open mics, but all of that there. So, do you play? Will you play? What do you play? Guitar? Or?
I don't. I tried to learn once, and I don't know why. I don't know why I chose. Like I had my my son. I had my daughter, and then I thought I thought I was gonna have time, and I was like, maybe I'll pick up the guitar, and I had no time.
Zero time.
It was not a good time to pick it up, but I would love to. I'd love to, but I just. I do. I know you're familiar with it. I love a little karaoke.
I remember.
So that's always a good thing. But I mean, it's like I think music's one of those things that it does something to us. Like it changes. Can change our mood. It can change our.
Oh yeah, it's impactful.
Yeah, it's such a
worldwide language, thing. Music, right?
Oh yeah.
Even if you don't understand the words half the time, the music hits you, right?
Well, it's interesting. I always, when you see bands going to like Germany and going to like Japan, and they sell out 50,000 people, and I'm like, do they know what's going on? Do they even know what's being said? You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter. It's it's kind of in the air. It's something. It's like magic.
Yeah. Who do you listen to?
I listen to a lot of I do actually listen to the Arkells a lot, the Trues.
Nice.
Glorious Sons. I'm a fan of. It's actually with the Revelry thing, I was actually it's pretty cool. These bands I thoroughly enjoy already, but and like the stuff I used to listen to, Pearl Jam and all those kind of the classics. That's my first. Pearl Jam 10 was like
the classics.
Yeah. I know. I hate even saying that.
That's not a classic to me, but I know what you're saying.
I just say it's just like it's one of those albums that, and I do like a lot of like rap and music like that. I have like a very
so you're eclectic,
broad. Yeah. Like I just started. My kids are laughing at me because I started listening to this guy called Young Gravy. I don't know how I heard him on a podcast.
Young Gravy.
Yeah, I know, and it's like, but it's really like. Fun, kind of music that looks like it's rap, but it's like very happy and fun, and I just like that.
The name Young Gravy just intrigues me.
I know.
I just listen to that.
I thought I was like, put it on. It's like, it's just but it's amazing now with music because there's just everything you want is available.
Totally.
Yeah.
There's no one genre anymore.
No.
Right? There's no 4 genres. It should be rock, pop, country, and jazz. Maybe that was it. And now. Eclectic. That's a good word for that. And so when you're not doing all of this stuff, I mean, what do you like to do? Do you get together with family regularly? Is that are you a close family?
Yeah, we have we try to have a thing we kind of created called Spaghetti Sunday.
Oh, really?
And I'm a little bit of I'm not a cook, I'm not a chef or anything, but I can make a decent spaghetti sauce. I think actually being a stylist, I get to talk to a lot of people, and some of them are Italian, and I kind of poke them for their secrets and things like that.
Recipe?
What do you do? What else do you do? What's your putting there? And, it's like, and so I've actually gotten a pretty good spaghetti sauce, and last time. We just had one a couple weeks ago, and there was 0 sauce left at the end of the night.
Wow.
So that's a good sign.
They scraped it all up.
Oh, pot was scraped dry. It was
a little family competition is who can make the better spaghetti? Or
I think they're pretty happy to just let me do it.
Okay.
There's not really the competition, really, but my dad was a really good cook, and my mom as well. And like it does, like, you know, family likes to, you know, we like food and all that stuff. So it's but yeah, I'm not really even sure how it started, the spaghetti thing, but it's easy, right? You put it on and, you know,
I don't know. I burn water, so it wouldn't be my either, but that's great. No, but that's family, and I know all your family, most of your family, I think, and that's always come across to me as you're all close and you really support each other and you work together. And I mean, even working together with family, that has its challenges, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, there's certain, you know, I think we're really good at, you know, kind of separating things, and, you know, we know what our strengths are, and so within the business, with having, you know, 3 owners is challenging, and you know, but we all know what we're good at, and, you know, okay, I'm going to take care of this department, and you take care of this, and you know, and and I also think, you know, in the salon we're always so busy, thankfully, that we're not. You know, if we were sitting around staring at each other,
you don't have time to bicker.
Yeah, that's for the most part. That's what it is. It's like there's not the time, and you know, thankfully with my dad, you know, kind of creating the kind of foundation of everything, and you know, it's
he really led the way for you guys.
Yeah, it's running. It's a well-oiled machine at this point. I like to think.
Yeah, right.
Touch wood.
Right. Now you have children. Does any of your other family have kids?
Oh yeah. It's really nice. My nephew. We have them from, I think, 26 or 27 right down to like 2 years old.
Oh wow!
Or actually, no, like 6 months old. Like, so there's we're always procreating. So it's like
busy family.
Yeah. Get used to us, because we're there's another generation coming.
Well, that was kind of I was leading into that. Is there family members, like your kids or anybody else's kids, that would come into this?
Come into the business? I don't know. My daughter, I kind of think maybe, but she's really focusing on this, on this horse. You know, the love of horses. And no boyfriend. And she actually has a lot of like fantastic. Like my wife's family has like her aunt is a fantastic horse trainer in Florida. So there are some connections. So she's going to explore them. But
and would she work for you or Mom?
Well, that's it's funny, because I did say to her, I drove her. She does work at my wife's salon right now. She has, so she has like a part-time job, and so I did say to her, I said, like, if you ever think about this industry, like, you don't have to work for either of us. Like, I think it's I kind of think when I got into it, you know, like when I got into it, it was like my dad and my sister. But now with my daughter, it's like, you know, if she works here, it's like her dad and her 2 aunts, and if she works at her mom's place, it's her mom, her uncle, her grandma, her grandpa. You know, it's like that's a lot. You know, it's a lot. Yeah. So I said, you don't have to work at either of our places.
Don't feel that you have to choose.
Right. You do have to go out of town though if you're not going to work at either. Right. You're not working at the place down the street. But
right. Like, you know, there's rules.
So there's a couple rules.
Right.
But yeah, right now she's doing her doing the hair stuff, or the horse stuff, and we couldn't be more proud of her. She loves it. So yeah.
She'll figure it out. She's what she said,
17. Yeah. So she's got.
There's time to figure it out. Right? But there are rules. Don't forget that for sure. Well, that's cool though. That you know, there's all these generations that are included, and I still find it really interesting about your wife across the street there. And maybe I got to interview her next.
Yeah, absolutely.
See if she says the same thing you do. Are you easy to live with?
I like to think so. I mean, I wonder. I don't know if every day I'm a joy. I think it's interesting. You know, I think I would make things a little bit lighter around the house. I kind of grew up with, you know, just wanting to kind of laughing and getting
just people
laugh.
Yeah, we're brought around that, right?
Yeah, so it's. I think I can in that way. I think I have a decent way of kind of looking at things differently, and you know, but it also can, you know, be frustrating as well. Like it's like, it's like, you know, it's like I remember this joke, and it's like, and he's talking about his son, and he goes, he's saying to his wife, he goes, you know, oh, like, can you believe it? He's just trying to make people laugh all the time. Like, how annoying is that? And his wife's like, yeah, it's annoying.
Right.
You know, and so I kind of, there's times when it's good, and I'm sure there's times when she wants to wring my neck. But yeah, that's life. That's marriage. So
I know it's a bit of a cliche question, but if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing, do you think?
I always think, it's funny enough, I kind of think about gardening.
Yeah, okay.
You know, like I've always, and I think there's a connection between I like seeing the change. Like I have a garden at my house, and I go out and I'll like edge it, put some fresh mulch on, and you just get a little feeling of pride, and you get to go, oh, that looks much better. I created that. Yeah, I did that. It looks way better than it did this morning, and you know, so I do like that. You know, it's kind of creative. It's kind of. But yeah, I think that would be good. I don't know how I do with the sun all day, like being from Scotland. It's like I'm big hats, sunscreen, so I might not be the best thing for me. But yeah, no, I've always often kind of thought about that too.
Interesting. I would have thought I wouldn't have expected that. I would have thought you would have went the direction more of the performing.
Yeah. I mean, I think that would be. I would love that. Like I think it'd be, but it's like. It's very, like doing it on the side and kind of having it as a hobby is
it's different than a living.
Yeah, like I think there's a certain, you know, I listen to, you know, people talking about the ups and downs of, you know, Hollywood and like comedy and all this stuff. And, you know, I don't know. I think it would be a lot more, I think the fun part of it for me right now is that I don't have that pressure.
Yeah, the fun part is not having to make money at it.
Right.
I just enjoy myself. There's no pressure to pay the mortgage.
Yeah.
Okay, now I want to ask you, and just because you're a comedian, I've always found you funny. Just knowing, just knowing your karaoke stuff. But Will Smith and Chris Rock.
Right. Yeah.
Opinion on that?
I love that. I watched it like when live, like my daughter.
Did you think it was real?
I was just like, my jaw hit the ground.
Right.
I was like, I rewound it like 100 times. I was like, that can't be. And it's like my daughter and I usually watch the Oscars together, and we were just like, what? No, it can't be. We're rewinding. And we left for Florida the next day, and I was just like on the air. I was talking to everybody about it, like strangers. I'm like, did you see that? I honestly think it was. I think it was like the joke that was made. It couldn't have been a nicer joke. You know what I mean? If you're like, so he's comparing.
I'm with you on this.
He's comparing her to G.I. Jane. This is Demi Moore,
who's beautiful.
Who is beautiful,
even with a shaved head.
Even with
gorgeous.
Yeah, anything. And then you know, the wife was, you know, she's gorgeous. Yeah. Gorgeous woman. So you're comparing your gorgeous wife to this other gorgeous woman. Yeah. You know, I'm not sure where the insult is. You know what I mean? That's what I never understood was like, you know, and certainly to, you know, assault somebody on a.
Well, I mean, worse things have been said, even out of Chris Rock's mouth.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And even like, you know, look at like Ricky. You were talking about Ricky Gervais. Right. Like he goes really, he goes really. He
goes
intense.
Beyond the line crossed.
Yes. Oh, the line. The line. He flies over.
There is no
in a
line
jet
with
plane,
Ricky.
right? So that whole thing, I just thought, I was like, this is not like this. There's no insult here. This is a gorgeous woman, and you know, whether she has alopecia or not, I don't know. But like, you know, the interesting thing too, as a hairstylist, I know she doesn't have to have that shaved head. She's got all the money in the world.
She could have.
If she was really self-conscious, really, you know,
she could have the wigs.
She could have had everything, and
plants,
you know,
or whatever. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Like there's I think 90%. That's the only challenge. Part of the challenge in this business is a lot of the times nowadays, like Hollywood, like the wigs that they make. You know, Shudder to even call them like a wig. It's like you're putting it into this like connotation. You know, you picture like the old. They are absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
They're $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 for these wigs, and so you're not. No one's gonna notice. Like so, if
she could have had that,
she could have had that for sure, and nobody would have been. But you know, I just thought it was kind of blow. Like I think Will Smith blew it out of proportion. And
then you know, I mean, we could do a whole hour on this, but just on piecing, like he does it, and as he turns, he's got a bit of a smirk on his face, and that's the part where I was like, okay, was that real?
Yeah.
And then, but then it turned out like this was real.
Oh yeah.
And now Chris Rock took a good year.
Yeah. Marinated.
To respond.
Yeah.
Have you seen his special?
I did. Yeah. I was actually really excited to watch it. I was like, I kind of had it marked on my calendar. Actually, I had it marked on the wrong day on my calendar, which was awesome. So that was good. But and I thought the response was decent. I think, again, like you just said, he could have done an hour on it. Like he could have been, you know, an hour about it. But and I think it was like a good, you know, kind of slap back to Will Smith.
I think it was too.
Yeah, I thought he did. I thought it was good.
And kudos for him for sitting on it. Like he said, spoiler alert, you won't see me on Oprah. You won't see me on this, that, or the other thing. I'm not going that route.
Not a victim. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also thought it was kind of funny when he's talking about how he doesn't. You never see him in a movie with his shirt off. Right. Like I thought that was just such a funny...
Have you seen the size of him and me? Like, I'll wear a sweater when I'm on surgery.
Yeah, it wasn't a fair fight. It's like that was his point. But it was just such a silly thing all around. I just thought, like, this is not... And then the idea that he then wins an Oscar and goes up and, does... It's just... this is like, you can't even write this stuff.
Yeah.
It was that was interesting.
And then all the responses. Anyway, that's I wish I could interview Chris Rock or Will Smith. I'd love to be that guy that gets that interview. Side by each, here you are.
Yeah.
Let's have the conversation.
Yeah, you never know. I'd like to see it. I actually saw. I had the pleasure of going to Los Angeles, and I went to so I had to go to the Comedy Store.
Oh yeah.
And it was just before we were there when the Oscars were on.
Yeah.
And we were sitting, we had gotten tickets to the Comedy Store. It was so exciting, and we went there in a huge lineup, and I'm like, I don't want to wait in the lineup. Went and sat in a bar and had a couple drinks, and as we're walking back to the Comedy Store, we're right out front, and I'm looking at my phone, I'm trying to find the tickets and all this. I'm kind of a little bit stressed, and my wife goes, Chris, and I look up, and Chris Rock and Steve Martin are right in front. They're walking past. Steve Martin gets into this limousine, and like, you want to see a celebrity when you go to Los Angeles. And I think I saw like 50 celebrities, because you just go, I think that was that Kelly Clarkson that just wrote.
Right. Yeah.
But that was not the case. But this was Steve Martin and Chris Rock, and he's not a big guy. Like, he's
he's tiny.
No, he's a tiny dude, and so Steve Martin jumps in this like big black Suburban or whatever, and I was just like, that didn't just happen. Like, it was
in
like,
front of me.
Yeah, just over like a flash. But I was just like, that was so. And,
you remember
so
it clear as day.
Yeah, and then so it ended up being that they were there to practice their skit for the following night when they performed at the Oscars.
Oh, okay.
So that was So it was pretty cool.
Little did he know
that I just in a short time he was getting that was the year before the slap.
Okay.
It was but yeah, and that experience was really cool. Like the Comedy Store. Like, no disappointment. No disappointment at all. Like, it was, I was crying, laughing. It was so funny.
Good for you.
But yeah.
Well, I can't thank you enough, Christopher, for your time here. I really appreciate
thank you, my man. I appreciate it.
And I'm looking forward to working with you, in this summer. I think I'll be back at Revelry again.
Oh, absolutely, man.
And
I appreciate it. This is a lot of fun.
For a beer sometime. And,
absolutely.
And talk some more. And please say hello to your dad. Dad, I'm coming for you next.
Yeah.
And if you want to find out more, there's a Facebook page, right, for Norton's Hairstyling?
Yeah, Norton Hairstyling. And we're on Instagram and all that stuff, too. And let's give us a follow. And
yeah. And let us know when the comedy's going to happen again, because I want a ticket to that one.
I will, for sure.
Once again, Christopher Norton, and to all of you, thanks so much for watching. But remember, like I always say, click the like and the love, of course, but please click the share button so we can share Christopher's story with everybody in social media land. Thanks for watching, everybody.